The bridge of the new Sol hummed quietly as Captain Du-Hyan stared at the data screens. 3 months into their mission, and they had found nothing but empty space and dead rocks. The human research ship was small compared to the massive vessels. Other species used to explore the galaxy, but it was theirs, and Du-Hyan was proud of every scratched panel and jury-rigged system. "Captain, we have something strange on the sensors," called out Bo Rem from her navigation station. Her voice carried excitement that had been missing for weeks. "There's an energy reading near the KEF-7 system that doesn't match anything in our database." Du-Hyan walked over to look at Bayram's screen. The young woman had been tracking stellar phenomena for 2 years now, and she rarely got excited about false readings. On the display, a pulsing red dot showed an energy signature that seemed to bend space around itself. "What do you think it is?" Du-Hyan asked. "I'm not sure, sir. It's not natural, that much I can tell. The energy pattern is too regular, too controlled. Someone or something made this." Chief Engineer Mina looked up from her station where she had been running diagnostics on their aging fusion reactor. "Captain, if Bioram is right about this being artificial, we should be careful. The outer rim has lots of old technology floating around. Most of it is dangerous." Du-Hyan nodded. Mina was right to be cautious. In the 50 years since humanity had joined the galactic community, they had learned that space was full of abandoned weapons and failed experiments from civilizations that died out long ago. Most alien species avoided such things entirely. "Set course for the energy source," Du-Hyan decided, "but keep us at a safe distance. I want to know what we're dealing with before we get too close." The new Sol changed direction, its engines pushing the small ship toward the mysterious signal. The crew of 12 worked quietly at their stations. They were used to investigating strange phenomena. It was their job, even if other species thought humans were crazy for doing it. Communications. Officer Tae-ho suddenly sat up straight at his station. "Captain, I'm picking up a transmission. It's very weak, but it's definitely artificial." "Put it through the speakers," Du-Hyan ordered. Static filled the bridge, mixed with sounds that were clearly not human. The alien voice was desperate, speaking in a language none of them recognized. The words came in bursts, interrupted by what sounded like explosions or machinery breaking down. "Can you clean it up?" Du-Hyan asked. Tae-ho's fingers flew over his controls. "I'm trying, sir. The signal is badly damaged. There's a lot of interference from whatever that energy source is." Medical Officer Su Jin joined them on the bridge. She had been checking on young Su, who had gotten sick from some bad food in storage. "What's all the excitement about?" "We found an alien transmission," Ba Ram explained. "Someone's in trouble out there." Su Jin listened to the static-filled message for a moment. "That sounds like a distress call. The tone, the repetition. I've heard enough emergency calls to recognize panic." Du-Hyan felt his chest tighten. If someone was in trouble, the right thing to do was help. But humans were still newcomers in galactic society. Most alien species saw them as useful for heavy work and dangerous jobs, but not much else. Getting involved in alien problems could cause diplomatic issues. "Tae-ho, can you get our AI to work on translating this?" "Already started, Captain, but it's going to take time. This language isn't in any of our databases." The next 2 hours crawled by slowly. The new Sol moved closer to the energy source, while their computer systems worked to decode the alien message. The energy readings got stronger and more chaotic as they approached. Whatever was causing the disturbance was massive and powerful. Finally, Tae-ho called out with excitement. "Captain, we have a partial translation." The bridge crew gathered around Tae-ho's station as he played the cleaned-up message. The computer's voice was calm and mechanical as it spoke the translated words. "This is Science Vessel Eternal Dawn. We are trapped. Space around us is broken. Cannot escape. Many species aboard. Need help now. Time is short. The message repeated several times before dissolving back into static. Science vessel? Mina said. That means they're not military. They're probably researchers like us. Du Haiyan studied the energy readings on the main screen. The pattern was becoming clearer as they got closer. It looked like space itself was twisted into a spiral, with something large trapped in the center. B.O. Ram, what are we looking at exactly? The navigator ran new scans and shook her head in amazement. Captain, this is incredible. Someone's caught in an artificial gravity well. The energy readings suggest it's some kind of automated system, probably very old. Whatever ship is trapped in there, they can't get out on their own. How many people do you think are on board? Sujin asked. Te-Ho managed to pull more information from the signal. The message mentioned multiple species. If it's a research vessel, probably anywhere from 20 to 100 beings. The bridge fell quiet as everyone realized what this meant. Somewhere in that twisted space, dozens of aliens were trapped and running out of time. Their ship was small, and their equipment was basic compared to what other species used. But they were the only ones here. Sir, Young-Su said from his position at the science station. The young man had recovered from his illness and joined them on the bridge. I'm detecting weapon signatures from that energy source. Whatever built this trap, it was designed to catch and hold ships. An old weapon system, Mina said grimly. Probably automatic. It sees a ship, grabs it, and doesn't let go. Du Haiyan felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders. Every human ship captain learned about situations like this in training. Sometimes you had to choose between safety and doing what was right. The smart choice was to report the trapped ship to the Galactic Union and let someone else handle the rescue. But the message kept playing in his head. Multiple species, scientists, people who were probably just trying to learn about the universe, like his own crew. Captain, Te-Ho said quietly, I'm picking up more of the transmission. They're saying they have about 8 hours of life support left. 8 hours. Even if Du Haiyan sent a message to the nearest Galactic Union outpost right now, help wouldn't arrive for at least 20 hours. By then, everyone on the Eternal Dawn would be dead. He looked around at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. These people had followed him across the galaxy on a mission that most aliens thought was pointless. They trusted him to make the right choice. Take us closer, Du Haiyan said finally. We're going to help them. Sir, Mina said carefully, we don't have the equipment for this kind of rescue. If we get too close to that gravity well, we could get trapped too. Then we'll have to be smart about it, Du Haiyan replied. Start thinking about solutions. We have 8 hours to figure out how to save those people. The new soul moved deeper into the twisted space around the ancient weapon system. On the main screen, they could see the outline of the trapped alien ship, caught like an insect in an invisible web. Du Haiyan knew they were probably making a mistake. But he also knew that humans didn't become part of galactic society by playing it safe. They had earned their place by doing things other species thought were impossible. Now they had a chance to prove that again. The new soul crept closer to the gravity well, its hull creaking under the strange forces pulling at the ship. Du Haiyan watched the readings on his command screen change from yellow to orange as they approached the danger zone. That's close enough. Mina called out from her engineering station. Any closer and we'll get caught too. Te-Ho worked frantically at his communications array, trying to establish direct contact with the trapped ship. After several minutes of adjustments, he finally broke through the interference. Eternal Dawn, this is the human vessel, New Soul. We received your distress call. Please respond. The reply came immediately, filled with static but understandable. The voice was deep and resonant, clearly not human. New Soul, This is Captain Veltar of the Eternal Dawn. We are grateful for your response. But I must warn you, this trap has destroyed 3 rescue attempts already. You should maintain safe distance. Captain Veltar, we're here to help. Can you tell us more about your situation? There was a pause before Veltar responded. You said you are human, correct? Your species joined the galactic community recently? That's right. About 50 years ago. Another pause, longer this time. Du-Hyan could almost hear the alien captain thinking. Human ship, I appreciate your willingness to help, but this situation requires advanced technology and expertise your species does not yet possess. Please send word to the Galactic Union. Request immediate assistance from Hegemony or Consortium fleets. Ba-O-Ram looked up from her navigation console. Captain, he's trying to politely tell us we're not qualified for this rescue. Du-Hyan felt a familiar frustration. This was the attitude humans faced everywhere in galactic society. Other species saw them as brave but stupid, useful for dangerous jobs, but not capable of real problem-solving. Veltar, we understand your concerns. But we're the only ship in range. How much time do you have left? Our life support systems are failing. Perhaps 7 hours remaining. The gravity well is slowly crushing our hull. We estimate complete structural failure in 10 hours. Sujin moved to stand beside Du-Hyan. Captain, that means they'll suffocate before the ship breaks apart. Tu-Ho managed to get a clearer signal. Veltar, can you tell us who's on board your ship? We are returning from the Galactic Science Summit on Kepler Station. 17 different species are represented among our crew of 43 beings. We carry the galaxy's leading researchers in physics, medicine, and engineering. Young-Su looked up from his science station. Captain, if these are the top scientists from 17 species, losing them would be a disaster for the entire galaxy. Du-Hyan nodded grimly. The trapped ship wasn't just carrying random travelers. These were some of the smartest beings in known space. Veltar, we'd like to try to help. Can you send us detailed information about the gravity well and what you've already attempted? Human Captain, I do not wish to sound dismissive, but 3 separate rescue attempts by advanced species have failed. The Hegemony sent a Dreadnought-class vessel with graviton manipulators. The trap adapted and destroyed it. The Consortium tried using phase shift technology to bypass the gravity well. The weapon system learned from that attempt and became stronger. Even the Ancients' descendants tried using their inherited technology. Nothing has worked. Mina had been listening to this exchange while running scans of the gravity well. Captain, he's right about one thing. This weapon system is incredibly sophisticated. Every time someone tries a new approach, it analyzes the method and develops countermeasures. So it learns from each rescue attempt, Du-Hyan said. Exactly. And it's had 3 chances to study the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Tai-Ho established a data link with the Eternal Dawn and began receiving technical information about the trap. The details appeared on the main screen, showing a complex web of gravitational forces that held the alien ship like a fly in amber. Look at this, Young-Su said, studying the data. The weapon system uses predictive algorithms to anticipate escape attempts. It calculates the most likely solutions and prepares countermeasures in advance. Which means, Mina added, it's expecting logical, systematic approaches to the problem. The kind of solutions advanced alien civilizations would try. Du-Hyan felt an idea forming in his mind, but he needed more information. Veltar, can you tell us exactly what the previous rescue attempts involved? The Hegemony used brute force, massive graviton projectors to overpower the trap. The Consortium attempted precision phase shifting to slip us out between dimensions. The Ancients' descendants tried using quantum manipulation to simply delete the weapon system from spacetime. All very advanced, very sophisticated approaches, Bioram observed. And all completely logical, Sujin added. Each species used their best technology in the most obvious way. Duhayan walked to the center of the bridge, looking at the image of the trapped ship on the main screen. The Eternal Dawn was easily 3 times larger than the New Sol, clearly built by a species with far superior technology. Veltar, I have a question that might sound strange. Has anyone tried a completely illogical approach to this problem? I do not understand your question, human captain. I mean an approach that doesn't make sense. Something unpredictable. Something that the weapon system couldn't anticipate because it's not based on advanced technology or logical thinking. There was a long silence from the alien ship. Finally, Veltar responded with what sounded like confusion. Why would anyone attempt an illogical solution to a technological problem? Because, Duhayan said, sometimes the best way to beat a smart system is to do something stupid. Mia caught on to what her captain was thinking. Sir, are you suggesting we try something the weapon system can't predict because it's too random? Exactly. This trap has learned to counter advanced technology and logical approaches. But what if we don't use either of those things? Teiho looked puzzled. Captain, what could we possibly do that advanced alien civilizations couldn't? We could improvise, Duhayan said. We could make things up as we go along. We could be completely unpredictable. Young Su was studying the weapon. Systems data patterns. Captain, I think you might be onto something. Look at these response algorithms. They're designed to predict and counter systematic approaches, but they assume the rescue attempt will follow logical parameters. What happens if we don't follow? Logical parameters? Sujin asked. Then the system has nothing to base its predictions on, Mina said, excitement growing in her voice. It would be like trying to solve a math problem when someone keeps changing the rules of mathematics. Duhayan opened the communication channel again. Veltar, we'd like to attempt a rescue, but our approach might seem very strange to you. Human. Captain, I appreciate your courage, but your species lacks the technological sophistication for this type of operation. You're right, we don't have sophisticated technology, but maybe that's exactly what we need. There was another long pause. When Veltar responded, his voice carried a mix of desperation and doubt. What are you proposing? We're going to try to confuse the weapon system by doing things it can't predict. Things that don't make sense according to normal rescue protocols. That sounds extremely dangerous and unlikely to succeed. Probably, Duhayan agreed. But the logical approaches have already failed 3 times. Maybe it's time to try something illogical. Mina was already pulling up schematics of their own ship's systems. Captain, if we're going to do this, we need to start thinking about what resources we have that other species don't. What do you mean? I mean, what makes human technology different? What do we do that other species think is crazy? Ba-Orem laughed suddenly. We jury-rig everything. We use equipment in ways it was never designed for. We fix things with spare parts and hope. We improvise, Teiho added. Other species follow the manual. We throw the manual away and figure it out ourselves. Young Su was nodding enthusiastically. And we never give up, even when the smart thing to do is quit. Duhayan felt his crew's excitement building. This was what humans did best. Find solutions when there shouldn't be any solutions. Veltar, he said into the communicator, we're going to try our rescue attempt now. It might look chaotic and dangerous, but that's the point. We need you to trust us. Human captain, I fear you are about to sacrifice your ship and crew for nothing. Maybe, but we've never been very good at knowing when to quit. Duhayan looked around at his crew. They were scared but determined. They knew they were probably about to attempt something impossible, but impossible was what humans did best. Mina stood in the center of the New Sol's cargo bay, surrounded by equipment that was never meant to work together. Hydroponic farming systems sat next to atmospheric processors. Mining tools were connected to the ship's coffee machine with cables and wire that Young Su had pulled from maintenance closets. "This is insane," she muttered, but there was excitement in her voice. "That's the point," Du Haiyan said, watching from the doorway. "Insane is what we need." The plan had started with a simple observation. The ancient weapon system expected logical solutions. It had defeated 3 rescue attempts by analyzing their technology and developing countermeasures. But what if they didn't use technology the way it was supposed to be used? "Jin Woo, how's the resonance device coming along?" Mina called to the maintenance chief. Jin Woo looked up from where he was connecting the ship's laundry system to a power coupling that normally fed the navigation array. "I think I've got it, but I can't guarantee it won't explode." "Perfect," Du Haiyan said. "If we can't predict what will happen, the weapon system can't either." The idea was crazy enough that it might work. Instead of trying to break the gravity well with sophisticated technology, they were going to confuse it. The resonance device Jinwoo was building would create vibrations in space-time using equipment that was never designed for that purpose. "Captain," Haijin called from across the cargo bay. The agricultural specialist was sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by plant nutrient sensors that she had rewired into frequency generators. "I need to know about harmonics. The pattern we're creating has to be completely random, but it also has to be stable enough to affect the gravity well." "Ask Kung Su," Du Haiyan suggested. "He knows about patterns." Everyone looked surprised. Kyung Su was the ship's cook, not an engineer or scientist. But Du Haiyan had an idea. Kung Su appeared a few minutes later, wiping his hands on his apron. "Captain, what can I do to help?" "We need a pattern that's random but stable. Something that sounds natural, but doesn't follow mathematical rules." Kyung Su thought for a moment, then started humming. The melody was simple and beautiful, rising and falling in ways that seemed to follow their own logic. "What's that?" Haijin asked. "It's a song my grandmother taught me when I was young. An old Korean folk tune about a river that changes course, but never stops flowing." Shijin's eyes lit up. "That's perfect. Natural patterns that seem random, but have an underlying structure. Can you sing it while I program the frequency generators?" As Kyung Su sang, Haijin translated the melody into electromagnetic frequencies. The folk song became a pattern of energy waves that the ancient weapon system would never be able to predict or understand. "This is working," Young Su said, monitoring the energy readings. "The pattern is completely outside normal technological parameters, but it's stable and coherent." Mina was making final adjustments to the improvised device. "Captain, I have to warn you, this thing could kill our power systems, destroy our engines, or create a feedback loop that tears the ship apart." "Or it could work," Du Haiyan said. "Or it could work," Mina agreed. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Tae-ho was coordinating with Su-jin to establish emergency protocols with the alien ship. If their rescue attempt failed, they wanted to at least share information that might help the next rescue effort. "Veltar," Su-jin said into the communicator, "we're going to start our attempt now. If this doesn't work, we want to transmit our medical data to you. Some of our techniques might help your crew survive longer." "What medical techniques?" Veltar asked. "Human medicine focuses on treating injuries with limited resources. We've learned to help people survive in situations where advanced medical technology isn't available." Su-jin had been thinking about this problem since they arrived. The alien crew was slowly dying from life support failure and hull damage. Human medicine might not be as advanced as alien healing technology, but it was designed for emergencies and disasters. "I am sending you our crew medical data," Veltar said. but I do not understand how primitive techniques could help. Su Jin studied the alien physiological information on her screen. Captain, some of these species have similarities to human biology. Basic techniques like controlled breathing, pressure point therapy, and stress management could help them conserve oxygen and maintain circulation. Send them the information, Du Haiyan ordered. Even if our main plan fails, maybe we can help them survive a little longer. Back in the cargo bay, the improvised rescue device was almost ready. It looked like nothing any alien engineer had ever seen. Farming equipment, kitchen appliances, mining tools, and communication arrays were all connected in a web of cables and jury-rigged interfaces. It's beautiful, Jinwoo said, standing back to admire their work. It's terrifying, Mina corrected. But she was smiling. Du Haiyan activated the ship-wide communication system. All crew, prepare for rescue attempt. We're about to do something that has never been tried before. Remember, the goal is to be unpredictable. If something goes wrong, improvise. Don't follow standard procedures. Trust your instincts. B.O. Ram called from the bridge. Captain, the weapon system is scanning us. It's trying to analyze our approach. Let it scan, Du Haiyan said. What it sees won't make sense. Young Su was monitoring the gravity well's response patterns. Sir, the weapon system is definitely trying to predict our actions, but the scanning patterns are erratic. I think it's confused by our equipment configurations. Good. Mina, are we ready? As ready as we'll ever be for something this crazy. Du Haiyan took a deep breath, initialized the resonance device. The effect was immediate and chaotic. The improvised machine hummed to life, sending waves of energy through space that followed the pattern of Kyung-Su's grandmother's folk song. The ship's lights flickered as power was diverted to systems that were never meant to work together. On the main screen, they could see the gravity well beginning to fluctuate. The ancient weapon system was trying to analyze the incoming energy waves, but the pattern made no sense according to any known technology. It's working, Young Su shouted. The gravity well is destabilizing. But their success created new problems. The resonance device was putting enormous strain on the new Soul's power systems. Sparks flew from control panels as circuits overloaded. We're losing main power. Mina called out. Switch to auxiliary systems, Du Haiyan ordered. Auxiliary systems are already at maximum. This was the moment Du Haiyan had been waiting for. The moment when standard procedures would fail and human ingenuity had to take over. Everyone, new plan. We're going to manually control this rescue. Jinwoo, I need you to regulate power flow by hand. Disconnect anything we don't absolutely need. What about life support? We'll hold our breath if we have to. Jinwoo ran through the ship, shutting down non-essential systems and rerouting power manually. Meanwhile, Haijin adjusted the frequency generators based on her own intuition rather than computer calculations. The pattern is becoming more chaotic, she reported. But it's still stable. On the bridge, Ioram was flying the ship using pure instinct instead of computer assistance. The gravitational forces around them were changing constantly as the weapon system tried to adapt to their unpredictable rescue attempt. I can't plot a course through this, she said. The gravity fields are shifting too fast for the computer to track. Then don't use the computer, Du Haiyan said. Feel your way through it. B.O. Ram turned off her navigation aids and flew by sight and instinct. Her hands moved over the controls in patterns that had no logical basis, responding to gravitational changes she felt rather than calculated. This is impossible, she muttered, but she kept flying. Impossible is what we do, Taeho said, still maintaining contact with the alien ship. The weapon system was becoming more desperate in its attempts to counter their rescue effort. Energy discharges lit up space around them as the ancient AI tried every defensive measure it could think of. It's like watching a very advanced computer have a nervous breakdown. Young Su observed Datsu-Jin was monitoring the health of both crews. Captain, our stress levels are through the roof, but we're still functional. The alien crew is reporting that their life support systems are stabilizing. What do you mean, stabilizing? I think our chaotic energy emissions are somehow interfering with the weapon system's attack on their ship. The gravity well is still there, but it's not crushing them anymore. Duhayan felt a surge of hope. They were actually doing it. Their insane, improvised, completely illogical plan was working. All hands maintain current efforts. We're not out of this yet, but we're making progress. The rescue was far from over. But for the first time since they had arrived, Duhayan believed they might actually succeed. The ancient weapon system was fighting back with everything it had. Energy beams lashed out at both ships as the AI tried desperately to maintain control of its trap. The new Sol shook under the assault, but Duhayan's crew kept working. Hull. Breach on Deck 3. Jin Wu reported over the communication system. I'm sealing it with emergency foam, but we're losing atmosphere fast. Keep the resonance device running, Duhayan ordered. We can fix the hull later. This was exactly what the weapon system couldn't understand. Any logical species would prioritize survival over mission success. They would stop the rescue attempt and save themselves. But humans had a different way of thinking about problems. Captain, Veltar's voice came through the communicator, filled with amazement. Your ship is taking severe damage. You should abort this rescue and save yourselves. Not happening, Duhayan said simply. But your crew will die. Maybe, but if we stop now, your crew will definitely die. We can't live with that. In the cargo bay, Mina was performing miracles with destroyed equipment. Every time something broke, she found a way to repair it using whatever was available. When the main power coupling burned out, she replaced it with a spare part from the food synthesizer. When the frequency generators started smoking, she cooled them down using the emergency fire suppression system. This is the most beautiful disaster I've ever seen, she said, sweat running down her face as she worked. Haijin was making adjustments to the energy pattern based on pure instinct. The song pattern that Kyung-Soo had taught her was evolving, becoming more complex as she responded to the weapon system's countermeasures. The AI is trying to predict our next move, she reported. But every time it thinks it understands the pattern, I change it. How are you deciding what changes to make? Young-Soo asked. I'm not deciding. I'm just feeling it. When the pattern starts to feel predictable, I make it more random. This was driving the weapon system insane. Its programming was designed to analyze and counter logical approaches. But the humans weren't being logical. They were being creative, emotional, and completely unpredictable. On the bridge, Bay Oram was flying through gravitational fields that changed every few seconds. Her navigation computer had given up trying to plot courses through the chaos. Warning alarms were screaming as the ship twisted through forces that should have torn it apart. How are you doing this? Toho asked, watching her hands dance over the controls. I'm pretending the ship is alive, Goram said. Instead of flying it, I'm dancing with it. When I feel it wanting to go left, I go right. When it wants to go up, I go down. That makes no sense. Exactly. Su-Jin had established direct medical communication with the alien crew. She was teaching them human techniques for surviving in disaster situations. Methods that didn't require advanced technology, just determination and cooperation. Focus on your breathing, she told a hegemony scientist who was panicking as his life support failed. Slow, steady breaths. Don't waste oxygen on fear. This is primitive medicine. The alien protested. Primitive medicine that works, Su-Jin replied calmly. Your advanced systems are failing. My primitive techniques will keep you alive. She was teaching pressure point therapy to reduce stress, meditation techniques to conserve oxygen, and basic first aid that could be performed with makeshift materials. The alien crew was discovering that human medicine was designed for exactly this kind of emergency. Your species has fascinating survival adaptations, Veltar observed. You function effectively under extreme stress. We've had a lot of practice, Duhayan said grimly. The weapon system was beginning to show signs of serious malfunction. Its attempts to counter the human rescue effort were becoming increasingly erratic. Energy discharges fired in random directions. The gravity well fluctuated wildly. I think we're breaking it, Young-Su said with amazement. The AI is overloading trying to process our approach. Good, Duhayan said. Keep being unpredictable. But their success was creating new dangers. As the weapon system lost control, the space around both ships became even more chaotic. Gravitational forces pulled in every direction. Energy storms erupted without warning. Captain, Bio-Ram called out. I'm losing control. The gravitational fields are too chaotic to navigate. This was the critical moment. Standard procedure would be to retreat to a safe distance and wait for the chaos to subside. But if they did that, the window of opportunity would close. The weapon system might regain control. New plan, Duhayan announced. We're going to coordinate both ships. Veltar, can your pilot follow our lead? Follow your lead? Your ship is flying in completely random patterns. Exactly. We need your ship to move randomly, too. The weapon system is trying to predict both our movements. If neither of us moves logically, it can't counter us. There was a pause as Veltar consulted with his crew. Human captain, this is extremely dangerous. Our pilot has never attempted such chaotic flight patterns. Then now is a good time to learn. Dongmin, the new Seoul security chief, had an idea. Captain, what if we teach their pilot to fly like Balram? What do you mean? Human pilots train differently than alien pilots. We learn to improvise, to trust instincts. Maybe we can teach their pilot to think like a human. It was another impossible idea that might just work. Tae-ho established a direct communication link between Bio-Ram and the alien pilot. Okay, Ba-Ram said to the alien. Forget everything you know about proper flying. I want you to close your eyes and feel the ship. Close. My eyes? That is insane. Yes, it is. Do it anyway. What followed was the strangest flying lesson in galactic history. Bio-Ram taught the alien pilot to ignore computer guidance and trust instinct, to respond to the ship's movement like a dancer responding to music. Don't think about where you're going, Bio-Ram instructed. Think about where you are. Feel the ship. Feel the space around you. Now move. The Eternal Dawn began to fly in patterns that matched the new Soul's chaotic movements. Two ships dancing through deadly gravitational fields, following no logical plan but somehow staying in perfect harmony. The weapon system's AI was having what could only be described as a breakdown. Faced with two ships that moved in patterns it could not predict, counter, or understand, it began firing wildly in all directions. It's completely lost control, Young-Su reported with excitement. The gravity well is collapsing. Not collapsing, Mina corrected, studying the energy readings. Dispersing. The weapon system is shutting down because it can't process what we're doing. The ancient AI had been programmed to counter logical threats. When faced with illogical solutions, it simply couldn't function. It was like trying to solve a mathematical equation where the numbers kept changing into colors. All crew prepare for final phase. Duhayan announced, we're going to pull them out. The next few minutes were pure chaos. As the gravity well dispersed, both ships had to navigate the collapsing energy fields while maintaining their unpredictable flight patterns. Equipment failed, systems overloaded, and alarms screamed warnings that everyone ignored. Shinwu was running through the ship, manually rerouting power as circuits burned out. Haijin was adjusting the resonance device with her bare hands, ignoring electrical shocks. Kyung-soo had joined the engineering effort, using cooking techniques to fix damaged components. "I'm brazzing this connection with a kitchen torch," he reported cheerfully. "It shouldn't work, but it does." On the bridge, Ioram was flying both ships through the final escape sequence, coordinating their movements through pure intuition. Tae-ho was maintaining communication with both crews. Soo-jin was treating injuries on both ships, using improvised medical techniques. And then, suddenly, they were free. The gravity well collapsed completely as the weapon system shut down. Both ships tumbled through normal space, their crews cheering and celebrating. "Eternal dawn, this is New Seoul," Do-hyun said into the communicator. "Are you all right?" "We are free," Veltar replied, his voice filled with wonder. "Against all logic and probability, we are free." Do-hyun looked around his bridge. His crew was exhausted, injured, and covered in grease and smoke. Their ship was barely holding together, but they had done something impossible. They had saved 43 of the galaxy's most important scientists using nothing but improvisation, determination, and a complete willingness to ignore common sense. "Captain," Young-soo said quietly, "I think we just changed how the galaxy sees humanity." Do-hyun nodded. They had proven that sometimes the best technology was no technology at all. Sometimes the smartest solution was the one that made no sense. Sometimes being human was exactly what the universe needed. 3 days later, both ships drifted together in safe space, while repair crews worked to fix the damage from their escape. The New Seoul looked like it had been through a war, with hull patches covering breach points and temporary cables running along the outside of the ship. But it was still flying, and more importantly, everyone was alive. Do-hyun stood in the main meeting room of the Eternal Dawn, surrounded by representatives from 17 different alien species. He had never seen so many different types of beings in one place. Some were tall and thin, others short and broad. Some had fur, others had scales, and a few looked like they were made of living crystal. But they all had one thing in common. They were looking at him with expressions he had never seen aliens use when looking at humans. Respect. "Captain Do-hyun," said Veltar, the ship's commander, "I have sent a full report to the Galactic Union about your rescue operation. I believe this will change how your species is viewed throughout known space." Ambassador Kethmol of the Hegemony stepped forward. The tall, gray-skinned diplomat had been one of the most dismissive of humans during their first contact 50 years ago. Now he looked humbled. "Captain, I owe you an apology. My species has considered humans to be ... primitive, useful for dangerous work, but not capable of sophisticated problem-solving. We were wrong." Dr. Zin Era, a brilliant medical researcher whose species had developed healing technology far beyond human capabilities, joined the conversation. "Your medical officer, Soo-jin, taught us techniques that saved lives during the crisis. Simple methods that worked when our advanced systems failed. We have much to learn from human medicine." Do-hyun felt uncomfortable with all the attention. "We just did what anyone would do. People were in trouble, so we helped." "No," said Commander Vextor, a military strategist from the consortium. "What you did was unprecedented. 3 advanced rescue operations failed because they used logical, predictable approaches. You succeeded because you did the opposite of what any rational species would attempt." Young-soo, who had been invited to the meeting along with the rest of the New Seoul's crew, spoke up. "We didn't really have a choice. Our technology isn't as advanced as yours." Improvisation is what humans do when proper equipment isn't available. That's exactly the point, said Dr. Linmish, a physicist who had been studying the weapon system's remains. Advanced species develop standardized solutions to problems. Our technology is sophisticated, but it's also predictable. The ancient AI could counter our methods because they followed logical patterns. Mia nodded. Human technology develops differently. We're always fixing things with spare parts, using equipment in ways it wasn't designed for, making things work when they shouldn't. Your approach to problem solving is unique in the galaxy, Veltar said. When faced with an impossible situation, advanced species calculate the odds and often retreat if success seems unlikely. Humans ignore the odds and attempt the impossible anyway. Ambassador Kethmol pulled out a communication device and activated a holographic display. I have been in contact with the Galactic Union leadership. They want to meet with your species representatives immediately. What for? Duhayan asked. To discuss humanity's new role in galactic society. Your rescue operation has proven that humans possess capabilities that no other species has. The Union wants to form a partnership. Su Jin looked confused. What kind? Of partnership, Dr. Zinera answered. Emergency response. Disaster relief. Situations where conventional solutions have failed. The galaxy needs specialists in the impossible. Commander Vextor added, there are also military implications. Human. Unpredictability could be extremely valuable in conflicts with hostile species. An enemy that cannot predict your tactics cannot defeat you. Duhayan felt a chill. We're not interested in becoming the galaxy's warriors. Not warriors, Veltar clarified quickly. Problem solvers. When other species cannot find a solution, perhaps humans can. Teho had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. What you're really saying is that our weaknesses are actually strengths. Exactly, said Dr. Linmesh. Your limited technology forces you to be creative. Your emotional decision-making leads you to attempt rescues that logical species would avoid. Your tendency to improvise makes you unpredictable. Ba'Orem laughed. So we're good at solving problems because we're too stubborn to admit they can't be solved. That's a crude but accurate assessment, Ambassador Kethmol said with what might have been a smile. The meeting continued for hours as the alien representatives shared their observations about human behavior during the crisis. They were fascinated by how the crew had worked together, sharing tasks and supporting each other without rigid hierarchical structures. Your security chief helped with engineering, observed Commander Vextor. Your cook participated in technical repairs. Your medical officer coordinated with alien crew members she had never met. This kind of flexible cooperation is rare among advanced species. We do what needs to be done, Dongmin said simply. Rank doesn't matter when people are in danger. Bad attitude, said Dr. Zinera, may be humanity's greatest strength. As the meeting wound down, Veltar handed Duhayan a formal document. This is a commendation from the Galactic Science Council. It recognizes your crew's achievement in saving 17 species' most important researchers. Duhayan looked at the elegant alien writing on the document, even though he couldn't read it. What does it say? It says that humans have proven themselves capable of achieving the impossible when the survival of others is at stake. It recommends that humanity be granted full partnership status in the Galactic Union with special responsibility for emergency response operations. Full partnership? Young-Su asked. We've only been associate members for 50 years. Associate membership is for species that contribute labor and resources, Ambassador Kethmol explained. Full partnership is for species that contribute unique capabilities essential to galactic civilization. 3 weeks later, Duhayan stood on the bridge of the New Sol as they approached Earth's orbital stations. The ship had been repaired and upgraded with some new equipment provided by grateful alien governments. But it was still fundamentally the same vessel that had answered a distress call and changed everything. "Captain," Tae-ho said from his communication station, "we're receiving a message from Earth Command. Put it through." The voice of Admiral Park filled the bridge. "Captain Du-hyen, congratulations on your successful mission. When you dock, you'll be reassigned to the new Sol's new role as humanity's first official diplomatic vessel." "Diplomatic vessel?" Du-hyen husked. "The Galactic Union has requested that your ship and crew serve as emergency response specialists. When conventional solutions fail, they'll call on humans to find alternatives." Mi-na grinned. "So we're officially the galaxy's troubleshooters." "That's one way to put it," Admiral Park replied. "Your orders are to travel throughout Union space, helping with problems that other species can't solve. Consider it humanity's contribution to galactic civilization." Du-hyen looked around at his crew. They had volunteered for a simple research mission and ended up becoming symbols of human potential. Any other ships getting similar assignments? 17 more ships are being prepared for similar missions. Crews are being selected based on their ability to improvise and think creatively under pressure. Sujin smiled. "They're looking for people who are too stubborn to accept that problems can't be solved." "Exactly," Admiral Park said. "The galaxy has learned that sometimes the best solution is the one that shouldn't work." As the new Sol docked at Earth's main orbital station, Du-hyen reflected on how much had changed. Humans were no longer seen as primitive newcomers useful only for dangerous jobs. They were partners, specialists in the art of making the impossible possible. The crew prepared to disembark for their brief leave before their next assignment. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or military power. It was the refusal to give up when others needed help, and the ability to find solutions where no solutions should exist. "Captain," Young-Soo said as they prepared to leave the ship, "do you think we'll get used to this new role?" Du-hyen smiled. "I hope not. The moment we start thinking rescue operations are routine is the moment we stop being good at them." Veltar's final message was waiting in Du-hyen's personal communications. It was simple but profound. "Thank you for showing the galaxy that sometimes the most advanced solution is the most human one." As Du-hyen walked through the station corridors, he saw other humans preparing for their own impossible missions. Engineers who specialized in fixing things that couldn't be fixed. Medical teams trained to save lives with whatever resources were available. Pilots who could fly through chaos by trusting their instincts. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not by becoming more like other species, but by being more human than ever. They were the ones who would answer the calls that others couldn't. The ones who would attempt the rescues that logic said were impossible. The ones who would never stop trying to help, no matter what the odds. And across the galaxy, that message was spreading. When conventional solutions failed, when advanced, technology couldn't solve the problem. When logical approaches had been exhausted, there was still one option left. Call the humans.